We also have to recognize employers who've been a part of this commitment to fair chance hiring. Jan Delp, for example, those of you who go down to Buena Vista, Jan's Diner is worth a visit, and her hiring as part of the Take Two program is extraordinary. We're going to hear from Drew Patterson just in a little bit. Drew is part of our initiative here at Take Two. He's at Basic Industries. I also want to acknowledge the leadership from the Latino Coalition for Community Leadership. We have Corey, who will be speaking in a little bit, as well as Richard Morales here today. Jason White is part of the National Reentry Workforce Alliance, which is an important initiative that we're going to continue to work with. Also, Harris Rollinger is with us. He's part of the team that started this effort. We'll be working with it as part of the Latino Coalition. And Adam Rice, who's here with us, he was working in our office basically over the life of this effort, which goes back to a meeting that Dean and I were talking about just a couple years ago that happened at Cross Purpose, a community-based program here in Denver. The Denver Metro Chamber is all in behind this initiative as well. Unfortunately, JJMN couldn't be here, but wanted me to send his regards and support. His predecessor, Kelly Bruff, was also a critical supporter of this opportunity hiring. Jason Mendelson and Dave Baran have worked also really hard and long on this initiative, helping develop the ideas. As you all know, we have a report we're issuing today, which benefited from their hard work. We have Representative Shannon Bird with us today, who is an incredible leader at the Capitol, committed to this cause. So many community partners, a number of whom are here today, including Christy Donner and Justin Cooper from the Colorado, what's that? Colorado, I was going to say CCJRC, but Colorado Criminal Justice Reform Coalition. We've also got Hassan Latif, who we're going to be hearing from, a model in terms of what he's been able to build the Second Chance Center. We've also got Stacy from Breakthrough, who we'll be hearing from. Jason Jans couldn't be here from Cross Purpose, but I mentioned he was very helpful in helping us get started. So many more in our community around this commitment to opportunity and justice. Quickly, before I offer a little bit of the flavor, just what happened yesterday is on point, which is talking to somebody whose brother was released from prison here in Colorado with a bus ticket and nothing more. That is not a way to help somebody rebuild their lives. It's not a way to protect public safety. It's, in fact, giving somebody what is often talked about is a stumbling block before the blind. It's not the right way. We in Colorado can and we will do better. How we improve our criminal justice system and public safety is an area that the governor and I are working very hard on. As I often say, our democracy is not a spectator sport, it's a team sport. And the teamwork that we have before us here and behind this, it's inspiring. I want to underscore there are 15,000 people incarcerated right now in Colorado. Each year, over half those people will leave. And then the question is, will they end up back in jail or prison? Or will they be able to rebuild a life for themselves and become positive contributors in their communities? All too often, we have a stumbling block before the blind. We have barriers and obstacles that prevent them from finding employment and from building a better life. We can do better, and we must do better for our communities, for public safety. The partnership we're talking today is about how we build on the leadership you're going to hear and do even better in our reentry system, helping people build a new chapter for their lives, helping public safety. But it's not just a win for the individuals or for public safety, it's a win for employers. Something the governor and I are hearing all the time now is employers are saying it's hard to find talent that they can depend on. And for a lot of employers, there's too much friction when they hire people who might be incarcerated. And what Dean Williams and his team have done at DOC is extraordinary. It's to reduce that friction and to enable that hiring. Today, we've got a roadmap for how we build on this work. The report we're releasing, I mentioned Adam's leadership along with others. We know how we can do this. There is a path forward. We're able to provide a grant to the Latino Coalition for Community Leadership and other community partners to build this Fair Chance Employer Network. It'll be a 3-year grant for $900,000. We're also going to be able to put an additional $200,000 into community partners who are working hard to support individuals re-entering society after incarceration. This is going to help build up a fair opportunity ecosystem that can be a model for the United States. After that meeting in January of 2020 at Cross Purpose, Adam Rice began a lot of work that culminated in a gathering that we hosted virtually at Department of Law. We heard loud and clear that we can do this. We then worked to commission this report to help improve our fair chance hiring system, which unfortunately right now is uneven. Witness the case I heard about yesterday. And we're going to be able to do a lot better with the effort that we're committing to now. This is a big deal for Colorado. This is who we are in Colorado. We're working as a team, and we're innovators. And the team here, as I mentioned earlier, Jason Mendelson, Harris Rollinger, Dave Moran, kicked the tires hard, looked hard, investigated what we could do. That gave rise to this report. Partners who are with us, Department of Corrections, Latino Coalition, Second Chance Center, CCJRC, have been with us, engaged, helping us develop a path forward that will be more just, that will be more safe, and that will be more fair. What we can do together is coordinate the overall ecosystem. So service providers are working together, and as individuals leave prison, they're supported. This could mean even work that happens before they leave. Technical training and programs that Dean Williams has been starting, including, as I mentioned, the Take Two program, which is truly an inspiration. I got to see it firsthand in Buena Vista. As we build on this, we're going to need our community partners. And I will be there. I know the governor will be there. Dean Williams will be there, because we're going to have to work with employers to take a step forward and to start doing fair chance hiring the way Basic Industries has. And our belief is when they're committed to doing that, they are going to find this a win for them as well as the individuals, as well as for public safety. This is an exciting road ahead. We are thrilled to be able to do it, and we couldn't be doing it without the leadership and commitment. I mentioned our governor's public safety package and the support he's been offering. Let me give him the stage.
Thank you, Attorney General Weiser, for leading this important initiative. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Dean Williams from my cabinet, Hassan Latif, Stacy Putka, Representative Shannon Byrd. Really, this is an exciting opportunity to move forward with protecting our fellow Coloradans, moving the needle towards public safety. When you set up people who are released for success, they're less likely to go back to a life of crime or a life that endangers others around them. We want to make sure that people can succeed and get ahead. We also know that for a lot of people, successful reentry doesn't happen by chance. It takes a plan. It takes a community working together to help Coloradans get on their feet and be responsible after they've paid their debt to society. And that includes what is their job, what's their housing plan, are there behavioral health resources they need, are there physical health resources they need, and how can those be lined up to make sure that after release that they're not a repeat visitor to our jails and prisons. We're proud that the Governor's Office, in partnership with the Attorney General and legislators, is working to expand affordable housing, behavioral health for everyone in our state. As the Attorney General mentioned, we look forward to working with the General Assembly to help make our communities even safer with a public safety package to really meet the urgency of the moment that includes helping people get the treatment they need by expanding and investing in co-response models, community policing models, loan forgiveness for justice-involved behavioral health workforce, as well as data-driven initiatives to reduce recidivism, like DYS youth employment, expansion of Take Two, and the work that we're announcing today, and the Attorney General is announcing under their auspices, and also looking at trauma-responsive restorative culture through increased use of restorative justice programs. Really, it's all hands on deck to help improve public safety and prepare those who have served their time to society for success in their future. There's plenty of work ahead when it comes to public safety, when it comes to criminal justice reform. It's really going to take all of us working together to bring that vision into reality. I want to thank Attorney General Weiser for his deep commitment to this issue and utilizing these funds for such an important cause that we know will help people escape a life of crime and be able to support themselves in a meaningful way in the beautiful state of Colorado. With that, we'll turn it over to Dean Williams, the head of the Colorado Department of Corrections.
Thank you, Governor, and thank you, Attorney General, for your financial commitment to this effort, and thank you, Governor, especially for your support and around this vision. And as my father used to say, many hands make the workload light. And it's because of the partnerships that the Attorney General and others have mentioned, the reason why we're all here, because we're all in this together. Here's the simple truth. Many women who leave prison with a job, with money in a pocket that they've made while in prison working a job, who have better social connections already established before they leave prison, who have a future ahead of them, that have a hope ahead of them, are better neighbors to all of us. And they're also less likely to return to prison, which would reduce the recidivism rate. And here's the kicker, as the Attorney General and the Governor already mentioned, it also improves public safety. And so the entire reform effort of having people employed in the Take Two program, if you're not familiar with it, is really about employing people in prevailing wage jobs with some good partners. We have representative here, but we have many more who are employing these individuals with real-time jobs, making prevailing wages, so when they get out, they have money, so they to buy, to get an apartment, find a place to live, know they have something to eat on the first day they out, having much more than just a bus ticket to get them to somewhere they have no place to sleep even. So this is because there's so much work that's done, and a lot of thanks and credit to a lot of the people who work for me, as well as all these partners that are in front of you, as well as many more that you don't see. In terms of bringing this effort again. So with that, Governor, thank you again for your vision and support of this, and Attorney General, thank you for your support and your friendship as well.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you, Governor Polis, AG Weiser, Director Williams. We're really excited to be here today. So good afternoon. My name is Corey Miskell. I'm the Colorado Director for the Latino Coalition for Community Leadership. We are a grant-making intermediary connecting state agencies to nonprofit community partners. And together with the National Reentry Workforce Collaborative, it's our privilege, actually, to support this initiative, linking Colorado's fair chance employers to the incredible talent of the state's justice-involved workforce, as well as the community organizations that serve them. I want to take a moment to address the nearly 30,000 Coloradans that are in prison or on parole, as well as the people that love them. Your resilience is humbling. We have all made mistakes, but we do not all suffer the same collateral consequences, and your journey is not easy. Colorado is a unique place for you to be. Our state's model for community reinvestment facilitates cooperation and trust among government, community, and local businesses. One such initiative is the Community Reentry Program, known as WAGES, or the Work and Gain Education and Employment Skills Program. A strong collaboration between the Department of Corrections and nonprofit community partners, many of which are led and staffed by people with lived experience in the justice system. I've been privileged to bear witness to the success of community reinvestment and its impact on individuals and families. So consider, for example, the gentleman who was released from prison to one of Colorado's rural communities. He enrolled in WAGES at a time when he was unemployed, separated from his family, and reported struggling greatly with self-worth due to a lifelong addiction and 11 years of incarceration. WAGES connected him to medicated-assisted treatment and mental health therapy to support his recovery. His WAGES care manager helped him reinstate his driver's license, enroll in a commercial driving program, and provided rental assistance while he trained for a new career. Today, having completed parole, he is stably employed as a commercial driver and lives in safe housing, which he pays for by himself without assistance. And he also regularly talks to his family now after 20 years of disconnection. Or consider the example of a woman like so many others that was released to a toxic relationship. She relapsed while entrapped in domestic violence and lost her full-time job. When her partner was removed from the relationship, she became solely responsible to care for herself, her children, while pregnant. And so through wages, she worked diligently on her sobriety and secured stable housing where she welcomed her new child. And she intends to return to the workforce soon, and initiatives like this are going to open up possibilities for a job and a career that recognizes her resilience and her loyalty. Partnering with Colorado's businesses will take this work to the next level. So the coalition and the nonprofit community partners across the state are proud to support this work and applaud A.G. Weiser's investment to foster an integrated reentry ecosystem that promotes community safety and an inclusive economy. And to our justice-involved Coloradans, through this initiative, we hope to create a workplace where you can showcase your full story, one in which self-doubt, abuse, unemployment, and addiction are not the end of the story, but only part of the telling. A story not of a single issue or regrettable circumstance, but one of the complex and dynamic intersection of restoration, purpose, and triumph. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Hassan Latif, founder of Second Chance Center. Today is a continuation of the monumental shifts in both perspective and action in Colorado's reentry space. When Second Chance Center was founded in 2012, there was literally no vision of or a pathway towards cooperation with the Colorado Department of Corrections or any other state entity. As for the Department of Law, my only experience was having the AG's office successfully thwart every appeal effort on my behalf over a course of many, many years. Excuse me. Yet with the passing of House Bill 14-1355, CCGRC and their legislative partners crafted this program, this legislation that turned into wages. It was Christy Donner's idea of what different could look like. And the incorporation of Latino Coalition for Community Leadership, whose technical assistance, infrastructure development expertise, and the translation skills needed to establish honest communications between factions that literally spoke different languages. The Wages program was launched, expanded, extended, and some amazing working partnerships were developed that have benefited Colorado overall. Wages provides the resources for some 20 community-based organizations to make services available to assist returning community members transition successfully, increasing public safety while lowering the recidivism rate statewide and the prison population as well. Fair chance hiring is an opportunity for us to build on this progress, on what many around the nation have dubbed the Colorado model. My struggle to find viable employment after being released almost 16 years ago has been the rule and not the exception. Much has changed, thankfully, yet so many barriers and limited options still remain. This fast chance hiring initiative can really move the needle, adding the business community into the partnership with legislative, advocacy, community, and state entities who have proven that these collaborations can and do work to improve public safety, enhancing the opportunity for those rejoining community after incarceration to transition successfully and take their place among those working to support their families and community. A.G. Weiser, speaking for myself, and Second Chance Center, a fair chance hiring employee with 18 formerly incarcerated people on staff. I look forward to having your office join an extremely diverse collection of people with a common vision of safer communities and more equitable opportunities for those blessed with the chance to rejoin society and add to it as opposed to taking from it. So thank you for your effort. Appreciate you.
My name is Drew Patterson. I own a company in Buena Vista that has been hiring guys that are currently incarcerated for the last 2 years. And man, it's not lost on me how difficult this whole thing is. And you start to dissect it and you really start to see how big the challenges are and how one thing affects another. And man, if you get a chance to look at what's happening in Buena Vista, tiny little town has kind of put their arms around this effort. And man, sorry, I get fired up about this. Wouldn't have been like this 3 years ago probably, but after having a chance to get to know these guys, and I appreciate what you said about story, because I feel like for a lot of these guys, their story has been always told for them. This is who you are based on what you've done, and it's done in bullet points. And man, their stories are so much more vibrant than that, and in a lot of ways, they're not that different from ours. But I mean, one of my guys, he talks about the first time he smoked crack was with his father. I don't know your story, but that is not my story. When I think about the things that I did with my dad, they couldn't have been anything further than that. And really how that sets people up for the rest of their lives, and not only the rest of their lives, but their kids' lives. And so as an employer, I mean, I'm getting so intimate with these guys, it's hard to not be a part of that story. And man, I would just encourage anybody that's thought like we shouldn't be doing that, or the barrier of entry is too hard, or what if, to just take a second look at that, because man, it's been a huge thing for me personally. It's been an amazing thing for our company, and really kind of given me just more passion and more drive for what we're doing and how to grow the business. So, yeah, it's an incredibly difficult thing that we're doing. Not basic industries, but everybody up here. And as I hear people tell about what they do, I think that's where it starts to make sense. There's people that can fill in gaps that I can't do. So this is very exciting to me to be a part of this. I appreciate you taking the time to listen. Thanks.
Hi, everyone. Guess I can take this off all the way, huh? My name's Stacy Putka, and I'm the Executive Director of Breakthrough. The issues of recidivism, reentry difficulties, and public safety deserve all of our attention. We've heard from elected officials, business leaders, nonprofit trailblazers about why this issue is so important. And so today I'd like to share with you one of our more recent success stories about my friend Alexis. Alexis graduated from our program in 2019. For context, we run an 8-month in-correctional facility program focused on character development, job readiness, reentry preparation, and the entrepreneurial mindset. Alexis graduated in the top 5 of her class and had so much confidence when she finally was welcomed home that she obtained employment in the construction industry within 1 week. She told us that she was less intimidated during the interview process because she was able to meet with business leaders, coaches, and mentors throughout the duration of her incarceration. But this wasn't the end for Alexis. She told us that her long-term career goal was to work for a tech company with her sights set on customer service. As fate would have it, one of our corporate partners, Checker, a $4.6 billion tech company, posted a customer service position. We immediately reached out to Alexis and encouraged her to apply. She interviewed, and she didn't get the job. She came back to us and she told us that she just didn't quite feel like herself in the interview, and that she wanted to keep working on her interviewing skills. So the next time a customer service position became available with Checker, she interviewed. She proved that she was the right fit for their company, and you guessed it, she got the job. Alexis persevered, and she did it with a community around her. And there are many more stories about people who've succeeded as a result of that community, the community that everyone up here and many, many others have created. My friend Anthony from Breakthrough's program at AVCF has his dream job as a head chef at a high-end American eatery. My friend Chris from Breakthrough's La Vista program works at the best French bakery in Denver. And my friend Abe started his own business and is manufacturing a flood mitigation system. When I talk to all of these people's employers, they all share the value that these employees bring to their company. In fact, statistics show that people with criminal records have a turnover rate that's 13% lower than people without a criminal history. Yet, the unemployment rate of our people on parole is still 27%. That is why this initiative matters. When we can invest in community and invest in opportunity for people, they can create this for themselves. Alexis once told me that when she was in our program, I felt like it wasn't us or them. It was all just us. So when we create community, real community like that, we're less likely to hurt each other. We're less likely to commit crimes against one another, but we're also less likely to discriminate in the hiring process. So I thank you for the investment in this community that will allow us to be more inclusive and forward-thinking. Thank you.
We now welcome any questions.
How do you get companies to buy into what you're doing? Because if they're not going to hire you guys, your program is not going to hire the inmates, it's not going to work.
So this is a very important point. This is the nub of the challenge that the governor, myself, and Dean Williams are all in to take on. We need people to see what Drew sees. We need to reduce the friction so that companies are able to get access to those stories that we just heard from Stacy. And our belief, which we're going to test here in Colorado, if we engage those companies, and the Denver Metro Chamber and other partners are in to help bring us those companies, we will get them those success stories, those Alexises, and we believe this will build on itself the same way it has at Basic. Drew, do you want to follow up on that point? Because I think it's a super important point. How do we convince businesses to do this? How did you get convinced, first off, and then how do we convince others?
That's a different story. But I think right now is a perfect moment to be having the conversation, because there's a ton of employers that are hurting for these jobs. It shouldn't take much to move that needle. Like, they have a spot that needs filled. I was talking with one of the lumber yards in town who, man, they've thought about it. They didn't do anything with it. But every time I'd go talk to them, man, like, I've got office guys out in the yard on a forklift. I'm like, you know, like, there are people like in town that they would love to sit on a forklift. And I think it's really just getting to try it with one guy. You know, it's pretty easy to kind of wrap your mind around that. One guy, and you have one story that you're trying to get your mind wrapped around how that's going to work. So I think it's just continuing to have the discussion and kind of break down that whatever it is that somebody has in their own mind, maybe a story of their own, but to just continue to break that down to where it's not that big of a jump to get one guy, and then I think they're going to see the successes with that and want to grow with it. But
I think the point is about stigma. At Cross Purpose, I met Kenny, who learned how to train dogs when he was in prison. He's got his own business now training dogs. When it's Kenny, a person who has skills, it's a different story than the abstraction of, can I hire someone who was convicted of a crime? And that's what we have to do, get past the stigma, the abstraction, the friction, to make this a habit, and you can see what the impact has been at Basic Industries. Other questions?
So is this open to everybody reentering the community, and what are the hopes, expectations, thoughts for the near and long-term future?
So the short point is the coalition is going to focus on as many people as they can build into the pipeline. This is a two-sided problem, if you will. We got to build the pipeline of those reentering, and we got to bring employers. So over time, we hope to keep scaling this up. And what did you say the unemployment was, Stacy? Unemployment rate?
27.5%.
So we got some work to do, right? A lot of people are leaving. They might be homeless and unemployed the weeks, months after they left. that is a dangerous situation in every sense of the word. It's dangerous to the person, to the community. So that's where we got to go. We got to get that rate down, and we got to keep working person by person, company by company.
Hi there. Thank you for the question. Yes, there is, actually. So this is a wonderful place, a wonderful program that the AG has brought forward. We need to supplement that, though, by a review of our occupational licensing standards and make sure that we don't have systemic barriers to people being able to get an occupational license and realize on the skills that they have to go and provide for themselves and, again, successfully re-enter society.
And that's another point. Hassan mentioned Christy Donna, her vision too, that we have to look and ask, do we really need to limit people's access to a profession or another because of prior convictions? And if it's just stigma and there's no real basis, we should open up opportunity. Allison.
I'm just trying to figure out the news piece, because I know that a lot of these programs seem pretty successful and they've been ongoing. The new money is obviously the part of it, but also, are you trying to convince private employers who have not previously hired felons to do that?
Yes.
I mean, that's what the money is like.
Yes, that's the reason that we need Latino Coalition's sustained engagement is we have to work on both sides of this issue. So one is working with Dean and his team because there are a lot of people who might be leaving who have certain skills. We need to get to know who they are. They need the benefit of training like the one Stacy talked about. So on one side, you're working with inmates who are leaving. On the other side, you're working with employers, making the case to them, you can do this. Here's how you can do this. Here's who you can hire. So we've got to, what's new is we're working on both sides of the equation. Recruiting the employers, working with an incredible team at the corrections department. I would say, and Hassan said it well, right now in Colorado, the stars are in alignment to do something the Colorado way. We want Colorado to be a leader in reducing, you've heard the term a lot today, recidivism. What's the rate at which someone leaves prison and ends up back in prison in 3 years? If you get to be involved in the Second Chance Center, it's about 10%. I think Breakthrough is a newer program, but 6%. So that's really good stuff. If you're not in those programs, it's closer to 50%. So we've got a lot of work to do. We've got a lot of opportunity. Yes?
I'm wondering how you'll prioritize who gets a job. It sounds like there might be more people that you can help that are going to be released. So how will you ensure that it's equitable?
Thank you for that question. So typically, we've worked in the wages program and other reentry programs that really target folks that are at medium to high risk for recidivism. The ones that are at lower risk tend to already have connection to their community, connection to possible employment, all of those things. So they don't really need as much support in their reentry experience. And so we would really be looking at isolating kind of those individuals that could benefit that lack some of those other supports. And in that way ensure that there's equity in how the resources are shared and spent. I do also want to address some of the questions about businesses. We are looking for businesses that are interested in getting involved in this initiative to reach out. So again, they can reach out to Latino Coalition, my colleague Harris Rollinger. So what we will be doing is helping to train them up. We know there are businesses, as we have seen today, that are interested in doing this work, and we want to help them find a way to connect to it, to know where to start. And so we'll be launching an accelerator program, helping to train them up, and then partnering that with grants to community organizations like Breakthrough, like Second Chance Center, where they can come in with intensive case management and care navigation to provide those wraparound supports, because it's not just about a job, right? It's about housing, it's about addiction recovery, it's about behavioral health, it's about all these other things, right, that make us human. And so we'll be pairing those together with employers and a community organization that can together really support workforce retention and targeted vocational training to serve those gaps where employers need to hire folks. So happy to answer any questions you guys may have about that.
And on this, in the report, for those who take a look, you'll see we stress tested and examined the proposition, could employers be brought to the table? And our conclusion is yes. You want to jump in on that,
One more
Governor?
thing, the timing couldn't be better. The number one concern we hear from the business community is it's hard to find people to fill our open positions right now. So employers that think out of the box and can tap into a talented, dedicated pool of potential employees who need jobs, are ready for jobs, will benefit immensely. And now is the right time, because there's a real need out there to make sure that we have people to power our economic recovery. And that's the top thing that we hear from businesses across the state. And in addition to all the wonderful work this does for the individuals, for public safety, it's also part of that economic recovery.
Well, let me add, when you elect an entrepreneur as your governor and he picks an entrepreneurial head of Department of Corrections, we get programs like this. Yes.
1 in 3 Coloradoans have a criminal background. Is there going to be any targeted outreach to those folks who've already gotten out and may have taken lower wage jobs or are still kind of engulfed in poverty because of the fact that they have a background?
So this program is about the reentry process itself. There are other programs on that front. I don't know if you want to speak to those other programs, Corey?
So Colorado has this really amazing ecosystem of reentry programs. Some of those are funded through the wages program or through other community reinvestment initiatives and grants from the state, which is absolutely amazing. So this program is going to do a couple of things. We do hope to connect with folks that are leaving prison so that they have a job on the outside and working as far upstream as possible, leveraging some of the resources and the innovation of Take Two or other vocational training programs that are in the prisons themselves. We'll still be doing vocational training on the outside because we often know that when you're releasing, sometimes you got to get that burner job before you find that career position and a living wage. And so we really want to work on that pipeline, and that's where we need the business community to come provide those opportunities and help us train folks up for them.
Yes.
And the release of this $900,000 is going towards training and support for businesses to kind of be able to do this. What kind of training and support, what does that mean?
So just to be clear, training support on both sides of the equation, if you will. Corey, what's that going to look like?
So there's a couple of resources out there. There are some employers that are already working in this space. So for example, Dave's Killer Bread has a foundation and an accelerator program that they utilize to train up employers on how to be good, fair chance hirers. So there are programs like that that we can leverage, bring in that wisdom of employers that are already doing this work through Take Two or that are dedicated to it, to really help create that community of practice so that they can bring along other employers. We already know it's something that interests Colorado employers, and so part of this announcement is also to get the word out that there's resources for this. And so, I'm sorry, so the training program for employers, and what was your other question?
Training and what do we do on the inside before people leave? What's that look like?
Do you want to speak a little bit about it?
So we're doing efforts now in terms of job skill development. What's new and slightly, hopefully improved, is organizations like Stacy's organization, Breakthrough, and other organizations like that are coming behind the walls and teaching softer skills. And because when you've been incarcerated a long time, having a job and interacting becomes foreign. It just does. And when you're in that environment, the way we all operate, it's not the way it operates in prison. So a lot of those efforts and being successful is those kind of training programs. And some of those things have already been done, but what we really want to do is create a larger pipeline. And to a prior question, we are doing some of those efforts, and we have employers, you're right, that are now interested in that, but we've kind of moved slow and steady because we want to learn as we develop and change the system, and that's the safest way of doing things and the wisest way of doing things. So the training programs are going to look like a lot of things that Stacy's doing, and we're adding those on to some of our harder skills training that we're already doing.
Do we have a final question?
Do we know now how many people come out of the Colorado Department of Corrections jobs?
Dean, do we have a number, the day people leave, how many leave with a job, percentage-wise?
You could probably get them that for follow-up.
I'd rather give you something in terms of...
We'll get back to you on that.
Yeah.
Yep.
versus guessing?
This was noted, the Take-Two initiative, moving up that pipeline is really precedent-setting. What Hassan's been doing, precedent-setting, that's what we're building on with this initiative today. We will keep you updated as we make progress. We thank you all for being here. Thank you again, Governor. Appreciate it. Thank you, Dr. Williams. You're the best man.